Once you ask the universe with clarity and conviction, something profound begins to unfold. It's not a question of if, but a matter of how. In that moment of asking, you are not merely making a request, you are aligning yourself with the vast and infinite wisdom of existence itself. Asking is not about control or force, it's about trust. It's about stepping into a space where your intentions resonate so deeply with the flow of life that the answer is already on its way. When you ask the universe with clarity, something extraordinary begins to take place. It's as though a hidden mechanism within the fabric of reality is set into motion, responding not just to your words but to the essence of your being. In that act of asking, you are not simply articulating a desire, you are initiating a profound dance with the universe itself. This dance is not governed by force or manipulation, but by resonance, by a shared understanding between you and the greater whole. You see, the universe is not some distant, indifferent force, it is an intimate extension of you. When you truly ask, you are not begging or pleading. You are declaring your readiness to receive, to be in alignment with the flow of life. But asking is not merely a matter of words, it goes far deeper than that. To ask the universe is to speak with the voice of your entire being. It is to align your thoughts, emotions, and energy in a single harmonious intention. Words alone carry little weight if they are not backed by belief, by the quiet conviction that what you seek is not only possible but already unfolding. The universe listens not to the noise of doubt but to the clarity of purpose. When you ask with unwavering trust, it is as though the very atoms of existence lean in to hear you, responding with a gentle yet powerful force that begins to shape the reality around you. This is where trust comes into play. Asking the universe is not about issuing demands or setting conditions, it is about stepping into a space of surrender. It is the realization that you are not separate from the forces that govern this world, you are a vital part of them. In trusting the universe, you are essentially trusting yourself, trusting that the same intelligence that orchestrates the stars and the seasons, is working through you. There is a profound freedom in this trust, for it allows you to release the heavy burden of control. You no longer need to micromanage the details or second-guess the outcome. The moment you truly ask, you can rest in the knowing that it is done. The universe has already set the wheels in motion, even if you cannot yet see how or when the answers will arrive. And yet, asking also requires readiness. You cannot simply throw your desires into the void and expect miracles without preparing yourself to receive them. This readiness is not about perfection or worthiness, it is about alignment. Are you truly open to what you are asking for? Are you prepared to let go of old patterns, beliefs, or fears that might stand in the way? The universe will always respond, but its response often depends on your willingness to make space for the new. It is like planting a seed. You must nurture the soil, provide water and sunlight, and create the conditions for growth. Without this preparation, even the most fertile seed may struggle to take root. There is also a profound simplicity in letting go. So often we ask with one hand and cling tightly with the other, holding on to fear, doubt, or the need to control every aspect of the process. But this resistance creates static in the signal. It muddles the clarity of your intention and slows the manifestation of your desires. To truly ask is to let go, to trust that the universe knows the best path to bring your vision to life. You do not need to know all the answers or predict every step. You simply need to remain open, receptive, and aligned with the essence of what you are calling for. Finally, there is a paradox in the act of asking. The answer often lies with the asking itself. When you take the time to articulate your desires with sincerity and depth, you are engaging in a process of self-discovery. You are clarifying what truly matters to you, uncovering the essence of your dreams and aspirations. This clarity transforms you, aligning your inner world with the outer reality you wish to create. In this way, the act of asking becomes a bridge, a connection between who you are and who you are becoming. So, when you ask the universe with an open heart and unwavering trust, know that it is done. The answer is already woven into the fabric of existence, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. Your role is not to chase or force, but to align, to prepare, and to trust. The universe is listening always. Asking the universe is an act of trust, a sacred dialogue between you and the infinite. When you truly ask, it is not merely a request, but a profound acknowledgement that you are part of something greater, something vast and boundless. This act of asking is a declaration that you recognize the interconnectedness of all things, that you understand your desires are not isolated wishes, but threads woven into the grand tapestry of existence. And in that moment of asking, something extraordinary happens. The universe begins to respond, not in some distant or delayed way, but instantaneously, because the act of asking itself shifts the energy around you. You see, the universe operates on resonance, not resistance. When you ask with clarity and conviction, you are aligning yourself with the frequency of that which you desire. It's like tuning into a radio station. The clearer your intention, the stronger the signal. But clarity goes beyond the mere words you speak. It comes from your state of being. Your emotions, beliefs, and even your subconscious mind all contribute to the vibration you emit. To ask the universe is to offer a clear, unwavering signal, free from the noise of doubt or fear. This clarity is what allows the universe to align with your intention, orchestrating events, opportunities, and synchronicities to bring your desires into being. Yet asking the universe is not a one-sided conversation. It is an exchange, a partnership. When you ask, you must also listen. You must be open to the subtle whispers of intuition, to the signs and signals that guide you along the way. The universe speaks in many languages, through the people you meet, the unexpected opportunities that arise, or the sudden insights that illuminate your path. But to hear these messages, you must cultivate stillness. You must quiet the chatter of the mind and create space for the answers to emerge. Asking is as much about receiving as it is about expressing your desires, and this balance is where the magic lies. There is also a profound humility in asking the universe. To ask is to admit that you do not have all the answers, that you are willing to step into the unknown with faith and curiosity. It is not about demanding outcomes or controlling the process. It is about surrendering to the flow of life, trusting that the universe knows the best way to bring your desires to fruition. This trust is not passive, it is an active state of being. It requires you to show up fully, to take inspired action, and to meet the universe halfway. When you ask, you are not simply waiting for something to happen. You are becoming a co-creator, a participant in the unfolding of your own destiny. At the same time, asking the universe requires you to let go of resistance. Resistance often takes the form of doubt, fear, or the need to control every detail. It is the voice that says, "What if it doesn't happen?" Or "I'll believe it when I see it." But these thoughts only serve to block the flow of energy, creating obstacles where there should be openness. Letting go of resistance is about cultivating faith, not blind faith, but a deep, unshakable trust in the process. It is about believing that the universe is working in your favor, even when the path is unclear or the timing seems off. And then there is the transformation that comes with asking. When you ask the universe, you are not just seeking external change, you are inviting internal growth. The very act of asking forces you to confront your desires, to examine what truly matters to you and why. It challenges you to let go of limiting beliefs and to expand your sense of what is possible. In this way, asking is not just a means to an end, it is a journey of self-discovery. It is an opportunity to align your inner world with the reality you wish to create, to become the person who is ready to receive what you are asking for. Ultimately, the moment you ask with clarity, trust, and an open heart, it is done. The answer may not always come in the form you expect or within the timeline you desire, but it is always perfect. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows what you need even better than you do. Your role is not to control, but to align, to prepare, and to trust. When you ask in this way, you are not merely requesting, you are stepping into a state of being where your desires and the universe are one and the same. And in that unity, all things are possible. The readiness to receive what you ask for is as important as the act of asking itself. When you ask the universe, it is not simply a matter of stating your desire and waiting for it to appear. It is about becoming a vessel capable of holding what you seek. This readiness is not about perfection or proving yourself worthy, it is about alignment. You must ask yourself, are you truly prepared to embrace the changes that will come with what you are asking for? Are you willing to let go of the old to make room for the new? Asking the universe is a transformative process, not because the universe needs you to change, but because the act of asking opens a door to growth and evolution. When you ask, you are not just seeking something outside yourself, you are initiating a profound shift within. This shift is about more than receiving, it is about becoming. To ask the universe is to declare that you are ready to expand, to step into a version of yourself that aligns with your desires. But this expansion requires courage. It often means stepping into the unknown, leaving behind the familiar comfort of your current reality. It means trusting that the process of receiving will unfold in ways you may not fully understand, ways that challenge you to grow and evolve. This is where the element of surrender becomes vital. Asking the universe is not about attaching yourself to a specific outcome or trying to dictate how your desires should manifest. It is about trusting the process, releasing control, and allowing life to flow. Surrender does not mean giving up, it means letting go of resistance and opening yourself to possibilities you may not have considered. Often, the answers you seek come in forms that are far greater and more profound than anything you could have imagined. By surrendering, you allow the universe to work its magic in ways that transcend your limited perspective. But surrender does not mean passivity. When you ask the universe, you must also take inspired action. This action is not born of effort or struggle, but of alignment. It arises naturally from a place of trust and clarity. It might be a small step, a phone call, a conversation, a decision, but it is infused with the energy of your intention. These actions are like ripples in a pond, setting into motion a chain of events that lead you closer to your desires. The universe responds to your willingness to act, to meet it halfway. It is in this partnership between asking and acting that the true power of manifestation lies. There is also a deep humility in the act of asking. To ask the universe is to acknowledge that you are not separate from the larger forces at work. It is to recognize that you are both a creator and a participant in the unfolding of life. This humility opens you to guidance and support from sources beyond your conscious understanding. It reminds you that you are never alone in your journey, that the universe is always conspiring in your favor, even when the path seems unclear. Asking the universe is also a profound act of self-awareness. It forces you to clarify what you truly desire and why. It requires you to look beyond superficial wants and connect with the deeper essence of your dreams. In this way, the act of asking is not just about getting what you want, it is about discovering who you are. It is about aligning your inner world with the outer reality you wish to create. This alignment is the key to manifestation because it ensures that what you seek is not in conflict with your true self. And then there is the patience that comes with asking. When you ask the universe, the answer is often already on its way, but it may not arrive in the time or manner you expect. This is where trust becomes essential. Trust that the universe is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events and opportunities in ways you cannot yet see. Trust that delays or detours are not denials but part of a larger plan that is unfolding perfectly. Patience is not about waiting passively. It is about remaining open and receptive, knowing that everything is happening in its right time. Ultimately, when you ask the universe with clarity, trust, and an open heart, you activate a profound process of creation. The moment you ask, it is done not because the result is immediately visible, but because the universe has already begun to move in response to your intention. Your role is not to force or chase, but to align, to prepare, and to trust. The act of asking is both a beginning and a fulfillment, a declaration that you are ready to receive and a realization that what you seek is already within you. And in that realization, the universe responds with infinite generosity. The act of asking the universe is more than a moment of expression, it is a statement of faith, a declaration of belief in the unseen. When you ask, you are reaching beyond the physical realm, beyond what you can see, touch, or control, and into the infinite possibilities that exist in the unseen fabric of existence. This is not merely a request for something external, but an alignment with the natural flow of abundance. The universe, vast and infinite, is already poised to respond. Your role is not to convince it to act, but to attune yourself to its rhythm and trust that what you seek is already set in motion. But here is where the process becomes truly profound. Asking the universe is not just about getting something you want. It is about becoming someone who is ready to receive it. The universe does not operate in the language of longing or desperation. It speaks in the language of energy and alignment. When you ask, you must ask from a place of trust and knowing, not from a place of lack. For the energy of lack repels, while the energy of abundance attracts. The moment you ask with the full conviction that what you desire is already yours, the universe begins to move in harmony with your intention. This is why asking is such a transformative act. It invites you to step into the version of yourself that aligns with your desires. If you are asking for love, are you embodying love in your daily life? If you are asking for success, are you living with the mindset and actions of someone who is successful? The process of asking is not a passive one. It requires you to look within and ensure that your inner world matches the reality you wish to create. This inner work is not always easy, but it is essential. You cannot ask the universe to bring you something you are not energetically prepared to receive. Trust plays a pivotal role in this process. To ask the universe is to trust that what you desire is already on its way. It is to believe in the intelligence and timing of life, even when the path is unclear. This trust is not about blind faith, it is about recognizing the patterns of synchronicity, the small miracles that often go unnoticed in the rush of daily life. When you trust, you begin to see these signs, and they serve as affirmations that the universe is responding to your request. But trust also means releasing the need to control every detail. It is about surrendering to the flow and allowing the universe to work its magic in ways that may surprise you. And yet, asking is not just about the external response, it is also about the internal shift it creates. When you ask the universe, you are declaring your readiness to let go of fear and limitation. You are stepping into a space where you are open to growth, where you are willing to let life transform you in ways you may not have anticipated. This openness is essential, because the universe often delivers what you need rather than what you think you want. Sometimes the path to your desires involves lessons, challenges, or redirections that ultimately serve your highest good. When you approach these moments with an open heart, you begin to see them not as obstacles, but as stepping stones. Patience is another crucial element of asking. The moment you ask, the universe begins to align the necessary people, circumstances, and opportunities to bring your desires to fruition. But this alignment happens in divine timing, not on the schedule dictated by your ego. Patience does not mean passivity, it means staying in a state of openness and readiness. It means continuing to take inspired action even when the results are not yet visible. It means trusting that every step, no matter how small, is part of a larger journey that is unfolding perfectly. In the end, asking the universe is an act of co-creation. It is a partnership between you and the infinite, a dialogue that transcends words and moves into the realm of energy and intention. When you ask with clarity, trust, and alignment, you are not just making a request, you are becoming a magnet for your desires. You are stepping into a state of being where the boundaries between you and the universe dissolve, and all that you seek becomes possible. The moment you ask in this way, it is done. The universe has already heard you, and the answers are already on their way. Your only task is to remain open, aligned, and ready to receive the infinite gifts that life has to offer. When you ask the universe, it is not just an act of speaking or thinking, it is an act of creation. In the very moment of asking, you are sending out a vibration, a signal that ripples through the infinite field of possibilities. This signal is not a simple wish or a fleeting thought, it is a declaration of your alignment with the essence of what you desire. The universe is not separate from you, waiting to grant or deny your requests. It is a mirror reflecting back to you the energy and intention that you project. To ask then is not to beg or to plead, it is to participate actively in the co-creative process of life. This participation requires a deep sense of presence. You cannot ask effectively from a place of distraction, hesitation, or uncertainty. The universe responds to clarity and focus, to the purity of your intention. When you ask with a heart that is fully present, you are saying, I am ready. You are affirming your trust in the process and your belief that the answer is already in motion. This readiness is more than a mental state, it is a state of being. It is the embodiment of faith and the willingness to open yourself to the unknown, trusting that the universe is aligning everything perfectly, even if you cannot yet see how. Trust is the cornerstone of asking. Without trust, the act of asking becomes hollow, an empty gesture devoid of power. Trust is what allows you to release the grip of control and let the universe do its work. It is the acknowledgement that there is a wisdom far greater than your own, a vast intelligence that knows the perfect way to bring your desires to life. Trust does not mean that you will never feel doubt or fear, it means that you choose to move forward despite them. It is the quiet confidence that even in moments of uncertainty, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. But asking is not just about trusting the universe, it is also about trusting yourself. It is about believing in your own worthiness, knowing that you are deserving of the abundance you seek. So often we block our desires not because the universe is unwilling to deliver, but because we do not believe we are ready to receive. We carry doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs that act as barriers to the flow of abundance. To truly ask the universe, you must release these barriers. You must embrace the truth that you are already enough, that you are already whole, and that what you seek is not outside of you but within you, waiting to be realized. Letting go is an essential part of this process. When you ask, you must release attachment to the outcome. This does not mean that you stop caring about your desires or that you become indifferent. It means that you trust the universe to bring your desires to fruition in the best possible way. Attachment creates tension, a resistance that can block the flow of energy. But when you let go, you create space for the universe to deliver, often in ways that are more beautiful and unexpected than you could have imagined. Letting go is not about giving up, it is about giving in, surrendering to the flow of life and allowing it to carry you. The act of asking also carries with it the responsibility of action. Asking the universe is not about sitting idly by and waiting for things to happen. It is about taking inspired steps toward your desires, guided by the intuition and opportunities that arise. These actions do not need to be grand or extraordinary, they simply need to be aligned with your intention. Each step you take sends a message to the universe that you are serious, that you are committed to the process. Action bridges the gap between intention and manifestation, turning your desires into tangible reality. Finally, asking is a practice of gratitude. Gratitude is the energy that amplifies your intention, creating a magnetic pull that draws your desires closer. When you ask with gratitude, you are not just thanking the universe for what you have already received, you are expressing appreciation for what is on its way. This gratitude is not conditional, it is a state of being, a recognition that every moment, every experience is part of the unfolding journey. When you ask with gratitude, you are saying to the universe, I trust you. I believe in your timing. I know that everything I desire is already mine. In the end, asking the universe is not about achieving a specific outcome. It is about stepping into a state of alignment, trust, and openness. It is about recognizing that you are both the asker and the answer, both the creator and the created. The moment you ask with clarity, trust, and an open heart, the process is set in motion. It is done. Your role is not to force or control, but to align, to take inspired action, and to remain open to the infinite possibilities that life has to offer. The universe is always listening, always responding, and always ready to co-create with you. Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you not as someone who simply achieved something, but as someone who walked a solitary path and discovered the beauty of doing it alone. They call it being a one-man army, but it's so much more than that. It's about self-reliance, inner strength, and a profound understanding of what it means to truly live. Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you not as someone who simply achieved something, but as someone who walked a solitary path and discovered the beauty of doing it alone. They call it being a one-man army, but it's so much more than that. It's about self-reliance, inner strength, and a profound understanding of what it means to truly live. When I embarked on this journey, I wasn't sure where it would lead me. Like many of you, I thought success depended on the support, approval, and encouragement of others. I believed I needed someone to hold my hand, guide me through the uncertainties, and cheer for me when I stumbled. But life had different plans. It didn't offer me a map or a guide. It left me with silence, challenges, and a sense of solitude that initially felt like a void. That silence, however, became my greatest ally. In solitude, I began to hear a voice I had long ignored, my own. The world is noisy, filled with the chatter of opinions, expectations, and judgments. It's easy to lose yourself in that cacophony, to forget who you are and what you want. But in the stillness of being alone, I found clarity. I realized that I didn't need external validation or a crowd to cheer me on. What I needed was to trust myself, to believe in my vision, and to embrace the person I was becoming. Being a one-man army is not about rejecting help or isolating yourself out of pride. It's about understanding that you are your own greatest resource. It's about recognizing that everything you need to succeed is already within you: your strength, your resilience, your creativity, your determination. These qualities aren't given to you by others. They are cultivated in the quiet moments when you face yourself. Of course, this path is not without its challenges. Walking alone means confronting fear head-on. It means waking up every day with no one to push you but yourself. It means falling and getting back up when there's no one around to lend a hand. But those falls, those struggles, are where the magic happens. They are where you learn who you truly are. Every setback teaches you something new, not just about the world, but about your capacity to endure and rise again. When I faced my own challenges, I often questioned whether I could continue. The weight of doubt can be crushing when you're alone. But it was in those moments of despair that I found my greatest strength. I learned that the human spirit is incredibly resilient when it is fueled by purpose. When you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve and why it matters, nothing can keep you down for long. That vision becomes your guiding star, your unshakable source of motivation. Over time, I realized that walking this path alone didn't mean I was truly alone. In doing it alone, I discovered the interconnectedness of everything. I found that my efforts, my struggles, and my victories were part of a larger tapestry. Every step I took inspired someone else, even if I didn't see it at the time. Every challenge I overcame contributed to a ripple effect, reminding me that while the journey may feel solitary, its impact is far-reaching. As I stand here today, I look back at the journey and see it for what it truly was: a transformation. Being a one-man army wasn't about isolating myself from others. It was about discovering my own power and realizing that I am part of something greater. It was about finding fulfillment not in the applause of others, but in the quiet satisfaction of knowing I had given my all. So, to anyone standing at the edge of their own battle, uncertain if they can do it alone, I say this: you are stronger than you think. The silence you fear is your ally. The challenges you face are your teachers. And the solitude you dread is the soil in which greatness grows. Trust yourself, believe in your vision, and remember that being a one-man army is not about being separate, it's about becoming whole. Thank you. When I embarked on my journey, I quickly realized that solitude is not something to be feared, but something to embrace. Society often paints the idea of being alone as a weakness, as if needing no one somehow makes you less human. But in truth, solitude is a crucible. It is a place where raw potential is forged into something unbreakable. I didn't set out to do it alone because I thought I didn't need others. I did it alone because that's how life unfolded for me. And in that unfolding, I learned some of the greatest lessons I could ever hope to absorb. The first lesson was about trust, not trust in others, but trust in myself. It's easy to look outward, to lean on the opinions and support of those around us, to rely on their validation as a measure of our worth or progress. But what happens when those voices fall silent? What happens when the safety net disappears and you're left with nothing but your own thoughts? At first it's terrifying. Doubts creep in, and you wonder if you're capable, if you're strong enough, if you're even on the right path. But then, in the quiet, you begin to hear a different voice, your own. That voice isn't loud or insistent at first. It's subtle, almost fragile, as though it's waiting for you to notice it. And when you do, something remarkable happens. You begin to build a relationship with yourself. You learn to trust your instincts, to believe in your ability to figure things out even when the path ahead isn't clear. That trust becomes the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without it, I wouldn't have made it as far as I have. Doing it alone also taught me the importance of perseverance. When you don't have a team cheering you on or a mentor guiding your every step, you have to find the strength to keep going from within. It's not about pretending to be invincible or denying that the journey is hard. It's about acknowledging the difficulty and choosing to move forward anyway. There were days when I wanted to quit, when the obstacles seemed insurmountable and progress felt painfully slow. But those were the days that defined me the most. I learned that perseverance isn't about never failing. It's about refusing to let failure be the end of the story. Each setback was an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to grow. And as I navigated those challenges, I began to see them not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones. They weren't there to stop me, they were there to teach me something I needed to know to reach the next level. Another profound lesson was about perspective. When you're on your own, you're forced to confront the way you see the world and your place in it. At first I thought I was fighting against everything, against the odds, against the critics, against the circumstances that felt so unfair. But over time I realized that the real battle was within. It wasn't the world that needed to change, it was me. I needed to shift my perspective from one of resistance to one of acceptance and gratitude. I began to see my solitude as a gift, not a punishment. It gave me the space to reflect, to dream, and to understand myself on a deeper level. It allowed me to strip away the distractions and focus on what truly mattered. In doing so, I discovered a sense of clarity and purpose that I might never have found if I had been surrounded by constant noise and influence. Now, as I look back, I can say with certainty that doing it alone was not just a challenge, it was a privilege. It was an opportunity to prove to myself what I'm capable of, to grow in ways I never imagined, and to emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who I truly am. Being a one-man army isn't about pushing others away or rejecting help. It's about realizing that the greatest ally you will ever have is already within you. It's about learning to stand on your own 2 feet and knowing that no matter what comes your way, you have the strength to face it. And so, I encourage you, if you find yourself alone on your journey, don't see it as a limitation. See it as an opportunity. Embrace the silence, trust yourself, and know that every step you take is building something extraordinary. The path may not be easy, but it will be worth it. Standing here today, reflecting on what it means to have walked this journey alone, I am filled with a sense of gratitude, not just for the destination, but for the path itself. When I began, I had no idea what it meant to truly rely on myself. The world around me was loud with opinions, advice, and expectations, and I had grown used to seeking guidance and affirmation from those voices. But life has a way of stripping away the unnecessary, of forcing us to confront what truly matters. For me, that confrontation came when I found myself with no one to lean on but myself. At first it felt like a loss. There is a kind of emptiness that comes with realizing the safety nets you once relied on are no longer there. The people you thought would always be by your side aren't. The support you expected doesn't materialize. And in that moment you have a choice. You can crumble under the weight of that realization, or you can rise to meet it. I chose to rise, though I didn't know what that would mean or where it would lead me. The first lesson I learned was that strength isn't something that is given to you, it's something you discover within yourself. When there is no one to catch you when you fall, you learn how to land on your feet. When there is no one to motivate you, you learn how to dig deep and find that fire within. It's not an easy process. There were moments when I doubted myself, when the challenges felt too big, the journey too long, and the weight too heavy. But every time I pushed forward, I found that I was capable of more than I had imagined. Doing it alone also taught me the value of self-awareness. When you are surrounded by others, it's easy to lose yourself in their expectations, to define your worth by their standards, and to let their opinions shape your path. But when you're alone, all of that noise fades away. What's left is you, your dreams, your fears, your passions, and your purpose. It's an opportunity to get to know yourself in a way that most people never do. In that solitude, I discovered a clarity I had never experienced before. I began to understand what truly mattered to me, what I was willing to fight for, and what I could let go of. I learned to trust my instincts, to listen to that inner voice that had so often been drowned out by the world around me. That trust became the foundation of everything I built from that point forward. The road wasn't without its struggles. There were times when I felt the weight of loneliness, when I longed for someone to share the burden with. But I came to realize that those moments were some of the most transformative. They forced me to confront my fears and insecurities, to face the parts of myself I had been avoiding. And in doing so, I grew stronger, more resilient, and more confident in my ability to handle whatever came my way. There's a beauty in doing it alone that is hard to describe. It's not about proving something to the world or rejecting the help of others. It's about discovering what you're capable of when you strip away the external and focus on the internal. It's about realizing that you are enough, that you have everything you need within you to succeed. And it's about finding a sense of fulfillment that comes not from external validation, but from knowing you gave it your all. Now, as I look back on the journey, I see that the solitude I once feared was a gift. It allowed me to grow in ways I never could have if I had relied on others to carry me. It taught me that strength isn't about never needing help, but about knowing you can stand on your own when you have to. It showed me that the greatest ally, the greatest source of power, is the one that resides within. So to anyone who feels like they're walking their path alone, I want to say this: embrace it. Don't fear the silence or the solitude. Use it as an opportunity to discover who you are and what you're capable of. Trust yourself, believe in your vision, and know that every step you take, no matter how small, is a testament to your strength. Doing it alone isn't easy, but it is worth it. Because when you come out on the other side, you won't just have achieved your goal, you will have discovered yourself. As I stand here today, reflecting on what it truly means to be a one-man army, I can't help but recognize the profound transformation that occurs when you journey alone. At the outset, being alone feels daunting. You're surrounded by a world that constantly glorifies teams, partnerships, and networks. It's as if the idea of standing alone is seen as a deficiency, a sign that you've somehow failed to connect with others or gain their support. But what I've learned is that walking alone isn't a sign of weakness, it's an opportunity for unparalleled growth and self-discovery. When I began this journey, I was filled with doubts. Could I truly accomplish my goals without a helping hand? Did I have the resilience, the courage, and the stamina to keep moving forward when the path felt uncertain and overwhelming? These questions haunted me, but they also became the foundation of my strength. You see, it's only when you're forced to rely entirely on yourself that you discover what you're truly made of. One of the most profound realizations I had was that the external support we often seek is a reflection of the inner strength we doubt. We crave validation and encouragement from others because we're afraid to face the possibility that we might not be enough. But when you're alone, there's no one to lean on, no one to offer reassurance. It's just you and your determination. And in that solitude, something incredible happens. You begin to understand that you are enough. The silence of being alone can be uncomfortable at first. It's in that silence that your fears speak the loudest, your insecurities rise to the surface, and your doubts take center stage. But instead of running from that discomfort, I chose to sit with it. I let the silence surround me, and in doing so, began to hear something deeper, a voice that had been buried under layers of noise and distraction. That voice was mine, and it held the clarity and wisdom I had been searching for everywhere else. Through this journey, I learned to trust myself in ways I never thought possible. I began to see that every obstacle I encountered wasn't there to stop me, but to teach me. Challenges became opportunities to grow, and failures became lessons that guided me forward. Without anyone else to shoulder the burden, I had no choice but to find solutions, adapt, and keep moving. That process was empowering. It showed me that I was capable of much more than I had ever given myself credit for. There were, of course, moments when the loneliness felt heavy. I won't pretend it was easy or that I didn't long for companionship at times, but in those moments I found strength in understanding that solitude isn't the same as isolation. Being alone gave me the space to connect deeply with my purpose, to reflect on what truly mattered, and to build a relationship with myself that was rooted in honesty and self-respect. As the journey continued, I began to see the beauty in walking alone. It's not about rejecting others or trying to prove something, it's about embracing the power that comes from knowing you can stand on your own. It's about discovering the depth of your own resilience and creativity. And it's about realizing that the greatest victories are not the ones that others applaud, but the ones that resonate deeply within you. Looking back now, I see that doing it alone wasn't just a challenge, it was a privilege. It was a chance to strip away everything unnecessary and focus entirely on what I wanted to achieve. It taught me that success isn't about having the most resources or the biggest team, it's about having the courage to start, the determination to keep going, and the resilience to see it through. To anyone who finds themselves on a similar path, I want to say this: don't fear the journey of doing it alone. It may be difficult, but it is also one of the most rewarding experiences you will ever have. Embrace the solitude, for it will teach you more about yourself than you could ever imagine. Trust in your ability to overcome, to adapt, and to grow, and know that every step you take is a testament to your strength and your unwavering spirit. Walking alone doesn't mean you're isolated, it means you found the courage to stand on your own. That is something no one can take away from you. As I reflect on my journey, the idea of being a one-man army resonates more deeply than ever. At its core, it's not about isolation or rejecting the world, it's about self-discovery, resilience, and finding the strength to move forward when no one else is there to walk beside you. The path I've taken wasn't one I chose deliberately, it was one I was pushed onto by circumstance. At first it felt like a punishment, a test of my ability to withstand the weight of the world alone. But as the days turned into months, I realized it wasn't a punishment, it was a gift. When you're alone, the world feels sharper, more vivid. Every decision rests on your shoulders, and every success or failure is yours alone to claim. It's both liberating and daunting. There's no one to share the burden, no one to point fingers at if things go wrong. For a long time, that reality scared me. I thought I needed a team, a partner, someone to guide me or support me. But life had other plans, and those plans forced me to confront the one person I had been avoiding, myself. In solitude, there's no escape from who you are. The noise of the outside world fades, and what's left is the quiet yet relentless voice within. At first, that voice was critical, harsh, and unforgiving. It pointed out my flaws, replayed my failures, and questioned my every move. But as I continued on my journey, I began to realize that voice wasn't my enemy, it was my teacher. It wasn't there to tear me down, but to challenge me to rise. Through the challenges, I discovered a strength I didn't know I had. There were moments when the weight of it all felt unbearable, when the temptation to quit was overwhelming. But in those moments, I learned the value of perseverance. I found that no matter how difficult the road became, as long as I took one step forward, I was still moving. And with each step, I grew stronger. The failures became a part of the process, but instead of seeing them as signs of weakness, I began to see them as opportunities to learn and grow. Each mistake taught me something valuable about myself and the path I was on. They weren't the end of the story, they were the plot twists that made the journey worth telling. What surprised me most was the clarity that came with being alone. Without the distractions of others' opinions or the need to meet external expectations, I was able to focus entirely on what truly mattered to me. I began to ask myself questions I had never dared to consider. What do I want? Why am I doing this? What kind of person do I want to become? The answers didn't come all at once, but as I continued forward, they began to emerge like stars appearing in the night sky. The solitude also gave me a new appreciation for connection not with others, but with myself and the world around me. I realized that being alone didn't mean I was disconnected. In fact, it was in those quiet moments that I felt most in tune with life itself. The world became my companion, offering lessons in every challenge, beauty in every hardship, and inspiration in every moment of stillness. Now, as I stand at the end of this chapter, I can say with certainty that doing it alone has been the most transformative experience of my life. It has shown me that strength isn't about never needing help, it's about knowing you can rise when help isn't there. It has taught me that resilience isn't about avoiding pain, it's about finding the courage to face it. And it has reminded me that success isn't measured by applause, but by the quiet pride of knowing you gave it everything you had. To those who feel like they're walking their journey alone, I want you to know this: you are not weak for doing it by yourself. You are not less because your path is solitary. You are forging something extraordinary, something uniquely yours. Trust in your ability to navigate the challenges, to learn from the failures, and to celebrate the victories, no matter how small. In the end, you will not just achieve your goals, you will become the kind of person who can achieve anything. And that is the greatest victory of all.